So YouTube allows creators to generate timestamps on the video, which allows you, the viewer, thank you for being here, to be able to click on a timestamp and then the video will go straight to that point, which is a very handy tool. And so I started thinking maybe I should create a very small, simple tool that will allow me to generate those timestamps for my video so that you can benefit from that. While you're here, go ahead and smash the thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Okay, so that's what we're going to be building in this video using Python, OpenAI API, and other tools. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so I have my project created here. So I have my environment that I created. You should be able to do this. If not, just go back to my previous video so you can Google real quick to see how to create a Python project. Okay, so we're just going to go straight to the code, but I have a few things that I've set up here. One thing that you need to have is this OpenAI API key inside of the .env. Make sure to go to OpenAI and create an account, and you should be able to get an OpenAI API key, which is important because that's what we're going to be using. All right, so and then I also have my App.py, which is empty. I have Requirements.txt, which is also empty. So this is where we're going to put all of our packages, dependencies that our application will need. All right, so the first that we'll need here is going to be Flask, and I'm going to also add the python.env and requests because we're going to be able to do some requests to an endpoint. And let's say we need OpenAI, of course. And let's go ahead and open my terminal. Okay, now I'm going to say source to activate our environment. And let's go to bin and activate. Okay, so now we should have our environment activated. And let's go ahead and I'm going to say pip install request requirement such. So we're going to be able to install all of these requirements that we need right here. Okay, so we're all good here. Now where we're going to go, let's go to our app and I'm going to import all the things I need. So the first thing I'm going to import is Flask. I'm going to render and request because we'll need those, and also .env os, we may use that as well. And the next thing I'm going to get is going to be the OpenAI as such. Okay, OpenAI from OpenAI, and this is where I'm going to go ahead and say OpenAI OS and get the OpenAI API key. This is how I'm going to instantiate our OpenAI and pass the OpenAI API key. So here we are instantiating our OpenAI wrapper, which allows us then to pass the OpenAI API key, so we're able to do all the calls. Okay, I'm going to also go ahead and say load .env find as such. And then I'm going to create the actual LLM model, in this case here. And I'm going to just put it inside of a string. So I'm just going to use GPT-4 because it's better for what we're going to be doing, but GPT-3 should work as well. But let's use GPT-4. Okay, because this is going to be a Flask app. So I'm going to instantiate the Flask here. And next, I'm going to create the route where we are going to have an endpoint in this case to be able to pass a template and see something. So the first endpoint here is going to be at the index endpoint. So I'm going to use app route, as you can see here, and I'm going to say the root, and then I'm going to pass the methods get and post. And then I'm going to define a function here, an index. And this is where we're going to do the request and all that. So what do we want to do? Really, what we want to be able to do is to post a request or allow users first to add a link to a YouTube video. And then we are going to extract from that YouTube video using some packages I'm going to show you real quick here. We're going to be able to extract the URL. First of all, we're going to be actually able to extract the entire transcript, and then things will happen in the back end so we can pass all that information into our large language model and get those timestamps. So I'm going to put an if statement here. If a request, that method is indeed post, right? What I want to happen is that I'm going to say request. I'm going to request a form in this case, and I'm going to pass the video URL. So in this case here, I'm going to put this inside of a video URL variable like this. Okay, so we're gonna extract the actual URL that the user inputs in the form. And next, what we're going to do is to extract from our video URL, we're going to extract the actual ID, because every video on YouTube has an ID. To do so, I'm going to put inside of a variable, so video ID, and I'm going to actually call a function which we haven't created yet called extract video ID, and we're going to pass the actual video URL, which is going to be here. Okay, let's go ahead and create that extract the video URL. And so essentially what I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of all of this so we can start from scratch. So here I'm going to pass a regular expression because a video URL has a lot of gibberish. So I need to cipher through all of it to find the actual ID. So I have already created the regex code here, which is going to be able to cipher through a URL and get what we need. So in this case here, I'm going to also use the matches, and I'm going to pass the search and pass the regex and the actual URL. Okay, now we don't have this, we need to import it real quick. So at the top here, we're going to say import RE for regular expressions. Okay, there we go. So now we have the matches. This is what we're going to be using to get what we need. In if statements, we're going to say if matches. In this case, if we have something there, we're just going to add and call matches that group and pass to. So essentially what we're doing here, we are sifting through and extracting the actual ID of this video URL. That's very important because we need that at the top here to pull in the video ID, which then we're going to be able to go through and extract what we need to extract. So next, once we have the video ID, I should say, I think I keep saying video URL, but it's video ID. I'm going to put in inside of this try, I'm going to go ahead and start getting the transcript. That's the first thing we need to do, is to get the transcript. And I'm going to call this fetch transcript. And we're going to pass, in this case, the video ID. So we haven't created that. We're going to create it real quick. We pass a video ID, that's what it needs. And then what we're going to do, I'm going to call transcript. And then here is where I'm going to go ahead and use yet another library that allows us to get the transcripts. Okay. So for that, we need to go back to our requirements here. We need to put here the YouTube -transcript API. So it is indeed a very handy package that allows us to do what we are going to be doing soon here. Okay, so let's go to our fetch transcript. Okay, let's go ahead and import our YouTube transcript API so we can use it. So I can use YouTube transcript, and I can say get transcript and pass the video ID, which is going to be passing here. So I can also say something like that. So that means then we have the transcript. I'm going to put that into a variable as such, so we have access to that. And then once we have the transcript, we're going to go ahead and format that transcript. Let's say formatted transcript. And how do we going to format it? I'm going to use the format transcript, which we haven't created, and we're going to pass that transcript. All right, let's go ahead and create that format transcript real quick here. I'm going to actually create a formatted transcript, but this is actually going to be, I'm going to change this to timestamps because that's ultimately what we want. And then transcript, I'm going to call this JSON data because that's how it's going to come. Loop through and say for entry in JSON data, we are going to go ahead, we're going to put that into a text, and I'm going to say entry, that text as such. But it has to be that get. Okay, we're going to get, in this case, the text, so it's a function, and then we're going to pass an empty string as there. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. And then we're going to check if text starts with a square bracket. So I'm going to say if text starts with square bracket like this, we're going to go ahead and skip and continue. Okay, because we don't need to do anything. And next, what we'll do here is we're going to go ahead and start converting things so we can actually get those timestamps. So what I'm doing here is I'm converting, as you see here, convert the start from seconds to minutes to seconds. So I want this format here, minutes, colon, and seconds. That's what I'm doing here, okay? And I'm getting the minutes from this conversion here, and I'm getting seconds from what I'm doing here. Okay, so all of that comes from each entry. Now this entry here, remember, it's a JSON that is going to be coming from this YouTube Transcript API. So that is the format that's coming in. So I'm just cleaning up to get what I need. Okay, then I have the formatted time. So I'm going to call this actually formatted entry. And so in this case here, I'm going to have the minutes and seconds. So that's how this will show exactly like this. And next what we'll do is I'm going to combine those formatted time with the actual text. So I have the code already. So this is what I'm doing here. Let's just say formatted time. That's the final one. Okay. And it goes here. Okay, so that's just, I'm combining so I can get exactly what I want. So this is how YouTube wants you to create the actual timestamp. So that's what we're doing here. I have to put two pipes like this between the formatted time, which is going to be this, with the actual text, which would say, for instance, at 0.03, then it's going to be the title of that segment in the video. Okay, and once we have all of that, I can go ahead and return the formatted, but I'm also going to join, they join like this, and pass all inside like that. Okay, and I'm going to put all of them in a new line as they come. That way it's all organized. Each timestamp is going to be on a new line. So I have transcript fetch, everything is working now. So I need to continue here. I'm going to also say timestamps, and I'm going to use the generate timestamps, and we pass the actual transcript as such. And then inside here, I'm going to return, actually render the HTML where we're going to have passed the timestamp, because this is what we want to show to the user. Okay, since we are in try here, I'm going to put an exception or except and pass in an exception as E, and I'm going to render the error as such. Very simple. Now we need to create this generate timestamp, because this is where the everything is really, because to generate that timestamp, we have the transcript. Now we need to pass all of that transcript, as you can see here, and generate the actual timestamp, which will have everything ready for us to just copy and put in our video description. So I'm going to create another function here. Now this function is a little bit involved, but no problem. So def, and we're going to pass in this case the transcript for this to actually generate everything that we need. So the first thing we need to do here is, because we're going to be using OpenAI, because we have the transcript, we have everything set up for us. So we're going to use OpenAI, and we need to tell it exactly, prompt in this case, exactly what we want to happen. So I have a very long prompt, and I'm going to just copy. So as you can see, it's a template, it's a prompt in this case. As an AI skilled in analyzing YouTube video content, and I'm giving it guidelines, what needs to happen, and most importantly, I have the timestamp formats that has to happen. So exactly the formatting that I was showing you earlier, this is exactly what needs to happen. Okay, so I'm putting it all here based on the transcript, which is going to be passed along like that. So next here, I'm just going to go and say response. I'm going to say client, right, and go to chat and completions. So we're using, in this case, OpenAI and create. And what we're going to be creating here, well, we are going to pass the model, LLM model. So I can say model, it's going to be LLM model. We created at the top here. And we're going to also pass the messages, which is going to be the actual template, but it's also all going to be inside of a list or an array in this case, or a list, and they have to come in as objects. So the first thing here, you can see that I'm passing in the system role as the system, and the content says you are a very knowledgeable programmer and YouTuber, right? That's all. And then we have the user, in this case, as giving that prompt or sending that information, right? And the content is going to be the template. Now this template here has to be the template that we created here at the top here. Let me move this. I think it'll be probably better like that. Okay, that's much better. All right, and then here we're going to pass a temperature, which is going to dictate whether our model has to be very creative or just very matter of fact. So we're just going to say 0 to say that we just want to give us exactly what we need to get. Okay. All right. So once we have that, what I need to do is I'm outside here from the function. I'm going to just return response, and it's going to be choices 0. And I'm going to actually go ahead and get the message. We can just say message and get the content as such. I'm going to pass that, and then app run debug, because this is a Flask application anyway, so we should be good to go. So here I'm also going to create another folder for our templates. So I'm going to say templates as such, and then inside I'm going to create another file. This is going to be our index.html. And for our index.html, that's very important. I have all the code already. I'm going to paste it all in here. So essentially, this is just a markup where we are going to have a YouTube video URL. This is just a form where we'll allow users to go ahead and enter the URL. And I have the part where we're going to pass the stamps. Remember, in our code here, you can see that in our index, we're passing our index.html, and we're passing this metadata, which is the timestamps object. So we will know what to do with it. That's what we're doing here. We're just going to go ahead and then show all of those timestamps. Okay. Very good. And I also have some JavaScript here that will allow us to copy those timestamps. All right. So you'll have all this code. It's nothing really out of this world, but it's all good. All right. Let's go ahead and see if this actually works. So I'm going to go ahead and save this, and I'm going to say Flask run. Right. Before we do that, I need to go ahead and run again to get the actual Transcript API, okay, or package. So pip install -r, and so we're going to be able to get that. All right, very good. Now that's in. Let's go ahead and say Flask run. Okay, client OpenAI takes one position argument. Just gonna paste everything here. Let's see. There we go. Let's try again. Okay, so we actually have to make sure that we're actually passing the timestamps to none like that. All right, so you can see that this is now working. So that means now I can put here a URL. Okay, I'm going to have a few videos here. Let me just find something. And if I go generate timestamps, chat completion is not subscribable. Okay, so that is the problem. This has to be response, that message, and content. So let's save this. Okay, so after we run this, you can now see that we have here, I've added this print statement here real quick just to make sure we're seeing things. Okay, as you can see, we have introduction, understanding syntax and program structure, importance of the structure, learning experienced programmers, all these things. So I'm going to go ahead. I have a few videos here. I'm not sure which ones. I think one of these is mine. I'm going to try that one. Okay, so looks like that doesn't work because it's too long. That's just to find something else. And there we go. So we can see this is a YouTube video that talks about data structures and the data structure explanation. So it's all of the generated timestamps. So it's easy now because we even have these copy stamps. They copy, then we're going to be able to, I'm going to just put in a code here. You can go somewhere like this and paste, and we have those timestamps. So very good. So now one thing you'll see is that this obviously is not working for longer videos because of the token limits. Okay, so that's something that I would let you work on your own, or I will do another video where I'll show you exactly how to get this to work for even longer videos. Okay, but so far so good. So everything is working. I can go and find another video. Let's go to YouTube real quick here and maybe find this video here. It's about 12 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and copy. So share. Let me copy the video, and I'm going to come here. I'm going to paste and see if that's going to work. So if you look at the actual code, you'll see that it goes through the process. Voila, it went through the process of extracting everything about the video. it starts at 0 minutes, introduction to the video, and then 17 seconds later, we have the explanation of what an API is, and it does the job. And by minute 12:34, that's conclusion and course promotion. You can see 12:34. If we go to the actual video, we should be able to see that the video is indeed, you can see here, yep, it's kind of hard to see, but the video is about 12 minutes and 45 seconds total if I hover over there. All right, so this works. So that means then this person here could take that and put, oh, in fact, they have it set up here, but they could also use our app and get these timestamps, and they can just copy and paste and add into their description, and it would look exactly like this, but I would say even better. So there we go. It works awesomely. All right. Now, one thing to keep in mind also here, the template, this is the prompt, right? Because this is what's used as a prompt for our model. So you can play around with this to make sure that it actually does what you want it to do. So you can see for me here, I have said your task is to create up to 6 accurate timestamps, right? So I'm specifying up to 6, but you could just let it be if you wanted to, so that it kind of knows or figures out itself, but I'm limiting to 6, and it seems to work pretty nicely like that. And make sure you have the guidelines. And so the idea here is that you can take this and make this better, so to create an even better application. All right, there you have it. So I hope this was helpful. I hope this application at least spiked some interest on your side to perhaps take this to the next level. I may take this and create a SaaS out of this. Let me know what you think of that. And like I said, there are a few things that you could probably improve upon this, and I hope that you do, and when you do, let me know, because I'd like to take a look. And remember, you will have access to this code, and you can do whatever you want to do with it. If this is your first time here, please don't forget to subscribe, like this video if you like the video, if you found value in this video. Thank you so much, and let's say what else? Well, that's all. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.